The sun had barely kissed the horizon when he arrived, his heart heavy with hunger. King Midas, cloaked in shadows, approached the banquet table laid with the finest dishes in his kingdom. His fingers trembled as he reached for a succulent grape, but as he touched it, the grape transmuted into cold, unyielding gold. His stomach churned at the bitter irony of it all, a feast laid before him, yet nothing to quench his aching hunger. This was no ordinary tale of a king and his kingdom. This was a tale that bellowed through the ages, warning of the hubris that tempts mortals to play in the realms of the divine. Midas, a ruler whose wealth knew no bounds, now stood accursed by the very touch that once brought him prosperity. It was not long ago that Midas had sat on his golden throne, eyes glimmering with ambition. Rumors of his vast wealth traveled beyond his lands, carried by traders and minstrels into distant villages. But for Midas, it was never enough. He dreamt of more, a greedy whisper that echoed incessantly in his mind. And so, when the sly god Dionysus appeared, Midas saw his chance. In exchange for a kind gesture, Dionysus offered Midas a wish. The king declared without hesitation the desire that everything he touched would turn to gold. A gift so grand it seemed it would secure his legacy for generations. Dionysus, knowing the peril of such a request, granted it with a knowing smile, warning of the consequences that might follow. But blinded by his dreams of wealth, Midas heard only the promise of gold. Morning light streamed through the castle windows the next day, illuminating the transformation of his world. Each step he took turned the very floor beneath him to a gilded marvel. Walls shimmered, and the gardens outside gleamed with an unnatural sheen. The kingdom buzzed with the news of their king's newfound power, a godlike touch that made him revered and feared in equal measure. But enchantments of the gods hide dark corners filled with lessons. Within days, the very riches Midas sought so ardently began to unravel his world. What began as a miracle quickly turned monstrous. The first bite of food, imaginatively transformed into inedible treasure, became his first taste of despair. The richness of gold offered no sustenance, no satisfaction. The once joyful halls of his palace grew silent, the whispers of servants replaced by the haunting clink of gold. Desperation drove him to his daughter, the one light in his world of cold metal. She ran to him, laughter in her eyes, and in an instant, that laughter was silenced. She froze in his embrace, a statue of gilded purity, her warmth forever trapped beneath a golden shell. Midas fell to his knees, agony tearing from his throat as the weight of his choices crashed down upon him. At the peak of his despair, Midas knew there was only one path left. He journeyed to the woods where Dionysus awaited. The god listened silently as Midas, the once proud king, now begged for salvation, for the curse to be lifted. Midas promised his unending devotion to the god's wisdom, finally recognizing the folly of his greed. With a nod, Dionysus instructed Midas to the river Pactolus, where he was to cleanse himself of his golden touch. The waters shimmered as Midas plunged his hands beneath the cool surface. With every wash, the magical burden slipped away, the river absorbing the king's folly. No longer did his touch turn life to gold. The curse dissolved with each cleansing ripple. Midas returned to his kingdom, a man changed not only by fate, but by the lesson carved deep in his soul. His fortune, once a golden dream, was now nothing but a memory and a legend. The fields he walked were no longer gilded, the halls no longer reverberated with the weight of precious metal, and the silence of regret hung heavy in the air. The river, though, bore the tales of Midas's penance, its sands turned forever to gold. And there it remains, a testament to the perils of unrestrained desire and the truth that some riches are too heavy to bear. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Midas stood at the river's edge, reflecting on the journey that had brought him here. The gentle breeze carried whispers of his story, a tale of transformation that would echo through time. He understood now that true wealth was not measured in gold, but in the warmth of human connection and the richness of life itself. The river's golden sands glistened under the moonlight, a silent reminder of the folly of unchecked greed. Midas, once consumed by his desire for more, now found contentment in the simple joys he had once overlooked. He had learned through pain and loss that the most valuable treasures were those that could not be held in one's hand. In the quiet of the evening, Midas turned away from the river, his heart lighter than it had been in years. He walked back to his kingdom, not as a king of gold, but as a man who had rediscovered the true meaning of wealth. The path before him was illuminated not by the glitter of gold, but by the wisdom he had gained. And so the legend of King Midas lived on, a story passed down through generations, a cautionary tale of the dangers of greed and the redemption that comes from understanding the true value of life. As the stars twinkled above, the river continued to flow, carrying with it the eternal lesson that some riches are too great a burden, and that the heart, not the hand, is the true measure of wealth.